You're not stuck. You've never been stuck because your energy and energy is always moving. But if your vibration has been the same for days, weeks, months, or years even, then what's happening is you're creating and recreating, therefore perpetuating time frames, time slots that look very similar, therefore giving you this impression that your life is stagnant and that nothing is changing. So let's learn how to reverse that. Hey, what's up you guys? I'm Fernando and welcome to my channel. There's a field of infinite potential, infinite possibilities, where everything that is, was, and ever will be already exists. This field is known as the fourth dimension, 4D. It's also known as the quantum field. It's also known as the alternative space in the book Reality Transurfing. According to Neville Goddard, creation is finished. And that's what he means. Everything is there right now. It's always been, it always will be. This field is infinite. Infinite possibilities, infinite potential. Everything that has ever materialized in the 3D plane is there, has always been there. This field also contains things that have never materialized in the 3D. It's infinite. So the version of you that has everything that you want to have, that you want to experience, already exists there as pure potential. We don't need to create anything, because creation is finished. It's more a matter of selecting. So creating your reality is more like selecting your reality because all the possibilities exist there right now. And how do we select from this field? Let these lines here represent the field of infinite possibilities, okay? There are sectors in the field. Some sectors contain all the things that you love, other sectors so-so, other sectors contain low vibe things, and beyond. Let these four colors here represent four sectors of the field, okay? And remember, these illustration here is a limited representation of something cosmic and infinite. But let's work here with the four colors, meaning four sectors in the field. Now, how do we select the experiences we have from this field of infinite potential? Remember, you are an energy molding instrument. You are your own antenna. You are your own Wi-Fi router. You are the organic cosmic technology that earthly technology is based on. Basically, you are all the power. So let's look into it. So this is you. There's cosmic energy that flows to and through you at all times. And you give shape, so to speak, to this energy that flows to and through you. How do you shape it? With your thoughts, your mind, and your feelings, your heart. And so you're accessing this field at all times. Your thoughts send out an electric signal, and your heart has the magnetic charge that pulls things in. So when there's coherence between the thoughts you have and therefore the feelings you have as a result, that's how you pull these experiences, the things that materialize for you in the 3D from the fourth dimension, right? And so if you're having thoughts of lack, for example, you are accessing sectors, areas in the sector that contain the experiences of lack. And so you're thinking thoughts of lack, and then you're feeling the thoughts of lack. There's coherence there. That's where your power lies. So you're accessing, you're tapping into this area of the field, and then you're feeling the emotion. The emotion is magnetic and pulls that into your experience. So therefore, that specific part of the field gets materialized for you in your 3D world, and you experience that very thing in the 3D in physical form, right? And so if your vibration doesn't change and you keep having thoughts of lack and feelings of lack in different forms, right? But it's still lack, you continue to access parts of the same sector, right? Therefore, you keep materializing the same sort of experience, and so on and so forth. And you know, they keep showing up for you, and it's like same, 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 same. My life is stagnant. Why isn't it anything changing? In actuality, things are changing because you're creating your experiences at all times. But it's like more of the same, right? But nothing is stagnant. Everything is moving. And so it's a matter of us realizing who we are and the power that we have so that we can direct our attention to other things, even if the 3D is reflecting to us things that were selected before, right? Because there's a time delay from selecting stuff from the field until they actually materialize. And so if you begin shifting your attention and then you begin thinking, feeling, and acting in a way that's different, then you begin to materialize other kinds of things. And it's like, ooh, this is a little different. But then it's like more of the same, because it takes a little time, right? So when you begin shifting, you will still see, even though there are changes now, you will still see reflections from your old ways of being. And so sometimes it takes a little time, because little by little, if you keep changing and upgrading your way of being, then ultimately you will shift timelines, right? That's what shifting timelines is. When you are able to, so let's say that this is totally low vibe, the green sector, not so much, and then you begin materializing the blue sector, which is like the sector that contains everything that you want, right? And so ultimately, you can end up manifesting all of the good things, and then maybe sometimes one of the bad things, and then maybe sometimes one of the not so bad, but predominantly you're like manifesting your dream life, right? But then maybe you'll get so good at it that you'll mostly manifest everything that you want, and then your life goes from having all of these experiences here, predominantly the red experiences, to having predominantly or all blue experiences. And so this is how you shift timelines. So the way you think and the way you feel, right? So when you're thinking of the things that you want, when you're entertaining thoughts of abundance, even if abundance is not present for you, you begin tapping into the areas of the field that contain all the abundance that you want. And so a lot of times it's our job to ignore the present circumstances, because if we begin shifting, right, to the blue sectors of the field, right, and then it's like, yay, awesome, and then, you know, this is a reflection from the past, and it shows up for you out of the blue, no pun intended, right? And then you're like, oh, I don't like this. What's this? Oh, what is this doing here? I thought I had already, learned how to shift and like manifesting. I don't understand. What is this doing here? Sometimes this is showing up because of former vibrations, former manifestations, right? And if we pay attention to this, then what we're doing is we're using our thoughts to tap into the field the sector of the field we don't like again, because we started paying attention to this and feeling this, and then another blue one comes up, but then two more reds come, and then you're like, what's going on? This is because you are all the power. Your attention is so powerful. Neville Goddard used to say that your imagination is God itself. And the same is true, for example, when you're manifesting something, you're focusing on what you want, and then you're like, let me focus on how this is going to happen, how my manifestation is going to come about. The moment you begin thinking of how, and this is why everyone will tell you to not focus on the how. This is the universe's job. So the reason is, when you begin focusing on the how, you begin focusing on the obstacles, you begin focusing on the problems. And so your precious, precious, beautiful, beautiful thought energy begins to tap into the sectors of the field that contain the problems. And then you're trying to manifest something and you're thinking of the how. And because you're thinking of the how, you're thinking of the problems. You're giving your attention to the problems that are in the sector because everything is in the sector. And then they show up for you and you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it, right? And so this is the universe's job. Focusing on the problem amplifies the problems because this, so your job is to focus on what you want no matter what. If you're not feeling so great, if you're not feeling 100% healthy, and you begin talking to people of how unwell you feel or whatever negative situation it is, right? That you're just wanting to vent to someone, again, your power never stops. If you're giving your thought energy to that and then you're feeling in accordance to that, there's coherence there, mind and heart coherence. That's where your power lies, and then you perpetuate the very thing you don't want present in your reality. But you're giving your attention to it because you want to vent and you want to, right? So it's not very clever because you are accessing the field at all times, and the field contains everything. So now let me give you an example from my personal experience regarding this. I had a partner of 9 years, and it was an amazing relationship. It was a total match. It was like we began dating the first time we basically met. And I'm sure that we as souls agreed to have this relationship, and it was beautiful, really. I used to drink to excess at the time. I used to do drugs because I was basically lost in the video game, not knowing what my purpose was. I didn't even know that there was such a thing as purpose, So I had a job that I hated. I was an ESL instructor for over 15 years. And even though I did a good job, I did not like doing it. I was afraid of people. I was afraid of society in general. I was afraid of having a job. I thought I was totally unworthy, and so I was doing that job because it was the one thing that I could do that paid somewhat fairly, and that was a way for me to avoid a 9-to-5. So that's where I was at when we met. And, in our relationship, I was able to stop drinking eventually. I stopped doing drugs. So many things changed, and we matched. There was a, total match between where I vibrated at and where my partner vibrated at. So basically, we were selecting from the field similar things because our vibration, so me and my former partner, okay? So we had very similar, not everything, all right? Some things were different, so yeah, so I had a blue one here. So they were almost the same, even though they were not. But there was a total match there. So that's why we were together. Because like attracts like, It's law of attraction is the law of order, basically. So if I'm vibrating at a specific place and the other person is somewhere else, you're not even gonna meet. If you meet, there's no connection, there's nothing, right? And so we were a total match. And then we spent 9 years together. So many things changed. I learned so much. I was able to receive so many reflections back to me via the relationship that I took advantage of and used for growth. And then towards the end of our relationship, I had a spiritual awakening and everything began to change, everything. And one of the things that changed was that instead of me wanting to point a finger and blame the other person, blame the relationship for the things that were not going my way, because we did that for quite a few years. We went to couples counseling. The sessions were terrible because I would get there feeling okay, and I would always leave feeling horrible. I would be feeling pissed at the end of the sessions because I wanted the therapist to understand how like unfair some things were towards me, because I was the victim at the time. When you're totally asleep in the game, you are playing the victim, right? We've all been there. And when we play the victim, we just perpetuate the stuff that we don't want. And so waking up means remembering who you are and that nothing is happening to you, everything is happening for you. So one of the main things that changed when I had my first spiritual awakening is I stopped blaming. And I also learned that to improve a relationship, you can always resort to gratitude and focus on the positive things that that relationship has to offer. Because when you do that, the positive things magnify. And so therefore the low vibe things, they kind of like fade away on their own. And so I thought that was very wise and clever, and that's what I did. And everything began to change. The little things that used to annoy me in the relationship, they just stopped annoying me. And I just kept like increasing, raising my vibration, studying and practicing. I was doing Ho'oponopono. I was doing meditating, all the things that I began doing when I stepped onto the path. And so I watched our relationship transform right before my eyes. Just by focusing on me and being grateful for all the good things that relationship was able to provide me. It was beautiful. But what ended up happening was my partner respected me for my journey and what I was going through, even though he didn't really fully understand. Because people don't fully understand, right? They think you're crazy, actually. But he was pretty comprehensive. He was pretty understanding. But he couldn't understand because it's unless you're going through the same thing, you can't, right? And so his vibration stayed pretty much the same. Maybe changed a little bit, but it stayed the same. So I'm going to use the red squares here to represent that. And so I had some red squares, but things began to change for me. I started accessing different sectors from the field. And then my vibration changed quite a bit. And then, can you see the difference now between the sectors of the field or our vibrations, right? Can you see how different they became? And so what was once a match was not anymore. And so what happened was, without me having to do anything, a lot of things happened. For example, he had to sell his apartment, and he ultimately decided that he wanted to go to the beach. He wanted to live by the beach. And it was the most natural thing you could ever have seen. Like, it was just this thing. He was like, I'm feeling drawn. I'm feeling called to go to the beach. Would you like to come along? I'm like, thank you, but no, I'm fine here. And so it was the easiest, most loving split up that I have ever seen. And I didn't have to lift a finger. Everything was taken care of. He sold his apartment. He moved away. I stayed here. And as a result, I was able to continue to work on me more and more and more and more. And everything changed more and more after that. And I'm somewhere else now. And so you see law of attraction, law of order. When it's not a match anymore, things changed. Things that are not meant to be in your life anymore, they fall away. Now the trick is, if I fall into the trap of the illusion, and instead of focusing on me and accessing the sectors of the field that contain the things that I want, if instead of doing that, I just focus on the problems and what is in my life that I don't want anymore, and I'm giving my precious attention to that, then you remain as a match to the very thing you don't want anymore, or to the very thing that doesn't serve you anymore. And so you're stuck together. And then you're trying to fight it. You're trying to push it away. And it just gets bigger. And you're creating more hell on earth. So do you see? If there's anything in your life that doesn't resonate anymore, you don't want to see that reflection anymore, if you're giving your attention to that, you're just, perpetuating that. You'll be stuck with that. So basically, in other words, you're not allowing the law to work for you effortlessly. So you are all the power. It's your job to focus on what you want and find coherence of mind and heart, even when the 3D is reflecting back to you the old stuff. And if you're able to keep at it, you just watch and wait, you just watch, your life change, and you don't have to do much really. Of course, you take inspired action. You're not gonna be like manifesting, sitting on the couch the whole time. That's not what I'm saying. But it's not about efforting. The action you take is inspired, and you're just in the flow, and you're just focusing on yourself, and you just know that you're all the power, and that your attention is everything. And so if this video resonates with you, I'm sure you're going to like the video I filmed titled Creating from the Fourth Dimension. So if you want to know a little bit more about this, I'm going to go ahead and link this video right here so you can check it out right now.